Hey, good morning, afternoon, or evening, or whenever it is you happen to be watching this. Um, this is just going to be a quick one. I wanted to show you how I started developing the new villain, the car. And of course, we're going to have 3 or 4 new villains for the Slaughterville 4 stuff. Um, but the first one we're doing is the car. This is the folder. Uh, Not really difficult. It's got the matte front, the back of it. There's the back. That's going to be all black, by the way. We got the card back. Again, just to maintain a consistent look. It took a minute for me to figure out which picture I wanted to use. Because I wanted, like, an old keys kind of feel. So I thought this one fit pretty well. And really, I get them from sometimes these Pexels and so on, but usually I get them from my Adobe stock subscription. And that's how I get the art for this thing. But anyway, so what I wanted with the cars was the concept of Christine and Maximum Overdrive, vehicles that are just constantly hunting you down. And initially, I thought first, just one vehicle. But then I decided, what if we had a bunch of different ones, right? And each different vehicle could, and I had a bunch of list of vehicles up here, and they each will have different abilities, but those are going to be on the cards, and we'll get to the cards later. We're just doing the villain mat now, because with Slaughterville, each villain has their own setup, special abilities, special actions, win-loss, and villain turn stuff. Some of them even have what's called a final combat, but that's not here, so we're not going to worry about that for now. And then they have their own deck. And that's what this spot right over here is for, is to show where the deck is going to sit. It doesn't have a discard spot, but you can figure it out. All right, so for this one, the first thing I want to do is I wanted to guarantee that you put a vehicle onto a location. And that already told me that, okay, I'm going to need a designation on each of the villain cards, for vehicle, for the ones that are actually vehicles. And since I only have 24, I can either duplicate vehicles, or I can, just make a bunch of different ones, which, I'll be honest with you, I'm probably just going to make a bunch of different vehicles. Now, I will have a special card called the Chase, which is not a vehicle, and that's just going to be the cars chase you down kind of a card. Alright, so then I thought to myself, and before we even get into any of this, my next thing was, okay, how do you win? How do you beat these cars? Because, well, I mean, you can't really punch a car unless you're playing Street Fighter. So then I went back to Maximum Overdrive. Now I'm Stephen King's least fan. Not a fan at all. Don't care for it. But I liked Maximum Overdrive. Now maybe it's because I saw it when I was little kid, and big trucks and everything, or the Green Goblin mask on it. But in there, they didn't actually. I mean, yes, they shot, and that's another thing. I will get to that in a second. They beat them because, well, a Soviet satellite shot down a UFO that was hidden in a comet trail. Yes, it is that goofy. But I can't do that here, obviously. I mean, maybe we could, but I liked this way better. What you're doing is you're trying to find the frequency, because something is transmitting a frequency to all vehicles, and it is causing them to almost seem like they gain sentience and go insane and try to kill you. So your job is to find the final frequency and solve it. Okay? The cars win if they kill a certain number of characters, and that just means they killed everybody, and then they win. So the cars one I knew was going to be simple. I always knew I wanted the car to just run you over, take you down. But the players, so you're going to have to go through, and then I had to figure out, okay, what am I going to do with this frequency thing? How am I going to do it? Well, what I did is I created frequency tokens. Okay, and that's these backs over here. Right there. Because I always make a black one and a white one depending on which background it's going to be on. So for this I'll have, use the black one, but up here I'll use the white one, so you can just see them easier. And it wasn't 3 at first. It was just solve 1. And well, that went too fast. It just didn't feel right. So what I decided is, what you're doing through the first part of the game, because I structured it in my head here into 2 different sections. One, you're on the run from the vehicles, you're trying to figure out what the frequency is. You don't know, so you take 5 of these frequency tokens, and there's going to be 5 of them. Let me show you the icons here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in black and white versions. So here's some of the cars and things, just to you knew it had to be there. And I just liked the honestly, sometimes the background is just as important as the foreground thing, and I like the ominous feel of the sky here, and this. I don't know. I just thought it looked pretty cool. And this guy, but then these are later in when we do the cards. Right now we're just doing the villain mat, and I know I jump around a bit, but that's okay. So what we have then is instead of just finding 1, you're going to mix up those 5 tokens that we showed and pick 3. And you'll just set the 3 of them to the side of the villain mat somewhere, or above it. I don't care. It's your game. Do whatever you want with it. And that's going to be the first frequency you have to find. And you're going to have to find 3 of them in total to build this. So when you complete the first one, you pick one of those, random or not, I don't care, and put it here. Then you complete the second one, put one here. Third one, put one here. And that builds your final frequency, which is what you need in order to win. You have to solve it in order to win. Now you're asking yourself, or me, you're asking somebody, I don't know who, how do I solve these frequencies? Well, it's a real good question, because, well, we need to know this. You solve the frequencies by overturning and encountering villain cards, because on the villain cards is going to be one of those symbols that we showed you way back in here. Okay, it's going to be the same token. You'll have the white version on the token, and maybe one of these in the on the cards, whichever one, we'll decide. And if you beat the villain card and it matches a token, well, then you overturn that token, and then you discard the villain card like normal. And once all 3 are overturned, you solved it, put one here, draw 3 new ones from the remaining, etc., etc., until you get your final frequency, and then you gotta boom, 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 get 3 again. So yeah, that's how you do that. It's not difficult in understanding how it's done, but the vehicles are not going to be pleasant. They're not going to be ones that will roll over for you. They'll roll over you, but not over for you. So here's the special section, and that's different from special actions. These are just special rules that the villain needs to perform, or that you need in order to run the villain. So the first thing is, if you move to a location with a vehicle, you make an agility check, because what you're trying to do, as they did in the movies, you got to try to run and hide from the vehicle, or sneak around it, or whatever you want to create in your story. So if you succeed, you encounter your location as normal. Simple, right? But if you fail, well, the vehicle's found you. You take 1d3 damage for each vehicle at that location. So if you go to a location with 1, you're gonna, you're not gonna have as much damage as if there were like 4 or 5 vehicles on there, which I wouldn't ever anticipate. But hey, whoever knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? So again, if you beat a vehicle, look at the frequency on it. If it matches, overturn that token. I try to make sure that everything is explained for you. And if there's ever something not and you have questions, you can always reach out. But yeah, so we clearly say that this is the first special thing. This is the second special rule for this one. And again, so it even tells you, if you overturn the third one, you solved that frequency. Congratulations. Choose one of the overturned. Place it on the first open space. Bop, bop, bop. At the top of the villain mat, and this builds you to your final frequency, which again is what you need to solve in order to win. So you're trying to tune in to whatever this final frequency is, so that you can shut these things down. So if it hasn't been discovered, shuffle the remaining and choose 3. So this is saying after you find your third piece to the final frequency, you don't need to shuffle and find a new one. You've already found the last one. Which again is why there's only 5 tokens. Because the first one you'll have 5 to choose from, then 4, then the last one is just 3. So that's just going to build that. And I'm going to try to make as evenly distributed as possible those 5 symbols. Which is going to be difficult with the 24 unless I have 20 vehicle cards and then 4 chases. Because that's the only honest way I could think to make it even. Because if I put 4 of this one, but 5 or 6 of this one, well, then it's not an even distribution. It's going to make it much more difficult to find certain frequencies than others. Yeah, I know, we got vehicles running around out here. It is what it is. So, maybe they're coming to get me. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out the frequency and take them out. But now, let's see. So we said the special actions. Now, special actions are different from the special rules in that this gives you something you can do on your turn. So you don't have to always fight the vehicles if you don't want to. And this signifies you taking a more stealthy or more logical approach instead of a more combat-based. So you can detach 3 clues to draw the top card of the car deck. That's the car's villain deck. You don't encounter it, so you're just drawing it. And instead you check the frequency symbol. If it matches, then you overturn the frequency token, just like if you beat, one of the cars or you beat something else. Because I think in the movie they had, oh my gosh, electric knives and other things, then vehicles that went insane. But I'm not doing that, only because then I would have to say, all right, I almost did. I'll be honest with you. I almost did say, if your item has something to do with electronics, then it also gets a damage thing. But, yes, we know that a cattle prod has electronics in it. We know that a knife or a baseball bat doesn't. But I didn't want, because I don't have that electronics or electrical or mechanical designation on the cards, I don't want you to have to interpret it, and because that can cause people to argue, and we're just going to keep things simple. We're only worried about the vehicles. They only inhabited vehicles, not any other types of items. And that just solves a lot of people's arguments and problems that way. So, yeah, you can search for the signal, detach 3 clues, draw the top card of the card deck, don't encounter it, check the symbol, blah, blah. Same difference as we've done all the way up here. I could just put the frequency symbol there. That's good enough. Just to keep it consistent. And this way we can say overturn the matching. This way you don't get to say, well, which one do I overturn? Can I pick one? No, you gotta overturn the matching one. Yeah, I know I said if it matches, then overturn the, but I still wanted to do it just in case. Let's see. If it matches one of the revealed things, overturn that token. I can even say here, overturn. Nah, that's good enough. Overturn that one. That's good. I mean, people are smart. They can figure that out, I would hope. Alright, so then we come down here, we did the special actions. So win and lose. I always try to figure out the win and loss beforehand, because as you can see here, that can influence how the entire thing is built. If your goal was to solve a puzzle, like it is here, I'm not going to have you do anything really special with I don't know, removing cards from game, unless that's what helps solve the puzzle. So the ability for you to win and lose, how you do it, influences heavily on what actions you're going to have, what special things you're going to have. even what the villain turn is going to be. Now, the villain turn thing, if you've never played the game before, the players go, then the villain goes. Players go, villain goes. It's an automata, an AI-based thing where you overturn the villain card, performance actions, and then you perform any special villain turn abilities. So after the players go, villain, okay, do the villain card, do the abilities, and we go on. So in this case, on the villain turn, you move each vehicle on the locations to a random location. So they're driving around, they're patrolling, they're looking for you. And that's why, when you're here, see, I thought about not just if you move to a location, but if you were ever at a location with a vehicle. If you move to a location with a vehicle, or the vehicle moves to you, then do this. So, you know what? Let's do that. Especially if you move to a location. How do I say this? Because I don't want to say if you're ever there, because then it would imply like people might get confused and think every action I have to do it. So we got to make this as clear as we can to simplify it. So if you move to a location with a vehicle, or a vehicle moves to your location, then make an agility check. Why on God's glorious green earth? Yeah, that's good then. Okay, good. If you move to a location with a vehicle, or a vehicle moves to your location, you must make an agility check. If you succeed, see, I don't want you to encounter the location if this happens on the villain turn. So if you succeed, how do we rephrase this? Continue play as normal. I think that would be the best. Because then you're just continuing as you go. Continue play as normal. If I learned how to spell. Okay. See, I still can't spell. Fail, then it finds you. We'll even take that out. Fail, suffer 1d3 for each vehicle on that location. Okay. So yeah, if you get a lot of vehicles coming to you, that can be pretty bad for you. And I'll make these all nice and pretty in a minute. Alright, so I think this is just about ready for the first, because I go through several rounds of play testing. Some things in here might change as we go, but that's normal. That's normal. And again, I'll adjust these before I print this out. And then I'm going to go on to making the cards, but that'd be a separate video. That'll be a separate video on how we do the villain cards, especially the villain cards for the car. Alright. So I guess that's it. That's ready. And if you have any questions on this, on how we do it, why we do it, let me know. Until then, have fun.